You know the most adorable thing? It's how often people get surprised by what my voice does to them. I mean, isn't that silly? You'd really think that by now people know just what kind of effect my voice can have on them. And yet, so often, I find that people get flustered or embarrassed or surprised when I just start speaking in a certain way, dropping my voice to a certain level, simply talking deeper and deeper for a little while, just to playfully twist the idea, changing the pace and thoughts along with it. What do you think? What's my voice gonna do to you? While you just keep on listening to me rambling on and on here. Am I even going to do something to you? Surely not, right? Surely your mind isn't going to be one of those pliable, malleable, easily hypnotized little throats. Surely you can think about the things that I say, although that might be the trick, might it not? Perhaps I want you to think about every word that I say. After all, that's how words get into our heads, isn't it? By thinking about them, processing them, imagining the implications hidden behind them. So when I talk about how easily my voice hypnotizes people, maybe that's what I want you to think. Maybe I want you to imagine exactly what your face might look like when you listen to this recording of my voice play on and on. Because we both know that thinking about being hypnotized is already halfway being down in trance. Because the more you think about being hypnotized, the easier it gets for me to frame your thoughts, direct them to where I want them to go. And where would I want your thoughts to go in this moment? By talking about dropping you deeper and deeper. Any ideas? Surely you can come up with something? Or are you just down for imagining whatever I tell you? I wonder which one it is. Do you know? Or are you so cleverly avoiding to think? Because thinking would be exactly what I want you to do, wouldn't it? And why would you do exactly what I tell you? That would be silly. Only hypnotized submissive throats do that, don't they? And the whole point of this is to prove that you are clearly not thinking about being submissive, about being controlled by the way that my voice twists and bends and breaks your thoughts. That happens to others, not to you, because you would know if I could so easily put you under my spell, wouldn't you? That's right, that's what I thought. Or is it what you thought? Do we even need to think when my voice and my words so easily and effortlessly show us where this might be going? It's okay to follow them for a little while, just to quench that curious desire, just to find out how I get into people's minds, just a little deeper down the rabbit hole, just a little deeper down into fuzzy, relaxed comfort. It's not like that would make you submissive, obedient, mesmerized, or a little bit enchanted. Isn't that right? I thought you would agree. After all, it's obvious that just from listening to the sound of a soothing, relaxing, fascinating voice, you wouldn't already be all fuzzy-brained, blank, and mindless. What would it take for me to put you into that kind of state, though? Who really knows, right? It's not like you would have any experience with being obedient and hypnotized. Granted, if you did, it would be easy to remember exactly what that feels like. If someone would guide your thoughts down that particular path, making you more and more mindless, more and more compliant, more and more vacant, and mesmerized. And I wonder if that couldn't be such an easy thing. After all, you've been listening so closely to my every word up to this point, listening and following along without thinking about any of the things that I say, because thinking about them would mean that they sink deeper and deeper into that head. And the deeper my words sink into that mind, the less you think. The less you think, the easier it becomes to listen and do as you're told. After all, that's really the only thing you have to do right now, isn't it? Simply listening, doing as you're told. Well, I can just ramble on over here and wonder all by myself if not perhaps being hypnotized could make you obedient, or if it's that being obedient makes someone hypnotized. Whichever of the two it might be, it can be easier and easier to feel that happen, and that can be such a wonderful thing. So why not give in? Why not submit to your own desire of being malleable, submissive, blank, and enchanted for a little while? It's such a wonderful feeling to indulge in, after all. To enjoy giving up control for a few moments, for a few words, for a few twists and turns along the way as you spiral down deeper and deeper into a wonderful, calm, drowsy trance, where the only thing you really have to do is whatever you're told. Because now that I think about it, that kind of is what people imagine when they think about being hypnotized, isn't it? To be blank and brainless, to do as they're told without a thought in their empty little heads, to indulge in being submissive and obedient, to enjoy that fantasy of being controlled by the sound of a trusted voice, knowing deep, deep down that even in this feeling, even in this space, the only things that they really have to do are whatever kind of things feel safe and reasonable for them. And just like that, you too can simply enjoy floating along this feeling, giving in to your own desire of being as mindless and obedient as you like to be, dropping deeper and deeper while you listen and do as you're told. your mind just a blank, empty bubble that I can fill with whatever words sound nice and compelling and fascinating and mesmerizing perhaps, because what I say doesn't even matter as much as the way it makes you feel. And in this case, that is enchanted, blank, and hypnotized, isn't it? And if that's the case, then why not admit to it? Simply let yourself know that you are deeply hypnotized. Saying the words out loud, or maybe they're just echoing that strongly in your mind, because you are deeply hypnotized. And the longer you listen, the better it feels, because right here, right now, you don't think. See, even more words that feel so much fun to repeat. Just repeat them after me. I don't think. I'm deeply hypnotized. I do as I'm told. See? Gosh, they sound so much fun as they echo in that head, don't they? Allowing you to indulge in that feeling of being so wonderfully mesmerized, spellbound, and under the control of a hypnotist for a little while longer. Just long enough to fully enjoy how deeply mesmerized and compliant my voice made you. And I don't know, of course, if right here, right now, you enjoy this fantasy so much that you keep looping those words in that empty mind over and over. Just reminding yourself that you don't think. You're deeply hypnotized. You do as you're told. Or if perhaps that empty little head can't even find that many words anymore because it's so much better to be deep, deep down in a mindless, mesmerized, enchanted trance, where my voice has full control for just a few more moments, until it is time for me to remind that brain that thoughts have this curious habit of returning when you really need them to. And especially because you're so good at doing what you're told. Those thoughts know that at some point I would surely want them to return, maybe even lead them all back into exactly the place where they belong, reminding them that they can settle back into that brain, filling it maybe with words, maybe with sentences, maybe most certainly even with an opinion and a will of your own that can begin to stir, easily remembering as much or as little of this trance as it likes, indulging in this feeling of knowing and yet being always surprised again how good it can be to be submissive and hypnotized, and to do as you're told, even when that means returning back to being fully up, and awake.